Yo. Oh, ladies and
I
gentlemen,
hear it.
Raw Food City. I can hear myself. It sounds great. Are we live? Oh, that's great. I have with me Chris Rossomando. Coach Ross.
That too.
I had no idea he was a football coach for like 20 years. That's pretty awesome. I can't imagine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Coaching's like real deal.
Yeah,
It's a lot involved.
It's evolved over that time.
But he is so close to 100 days without food. Now, and I've done it, and he's doing it, and I kind of inspired you a little bit, right?
No,
Really?
You 100% did.
Yeah. I love that. Because that's the only reason why I'm doing what I'm doing is because I want people to feel what we are feeling.
But the only way you can feel it is if you do it.
You got to do it. You can
Right?
you can watch it, but
I've worked with a lot of people over the years, and unofficially, officially, whatever, and I could tell you till I'm blue in the face, but until you experience it, then you're not really going to understand what it means.
yeah,
Because there's so many other aspects than food.
right.
The mind, the mental, the mental stuff, the spiritual stuff. Let's face it, right? We're
Maybe you want to get it in?
oh yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay.
There
I'm
we-
sorry about that.
Can you hear yourself? in
Yeah.
your mic?
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, the spiritual. Oh my God, how deep?
It's a big part of it, and you have to be open to that, to
Yeah.
that side of it. And some people aren't. Some people aren't ready for that. It takes a long time. Like we spoke outside.
Yeah.
This whole thing is about time
Yes.
and process.
And like we both envy like a Mike Perrine everyday detox
Oh
on
man,
how
Mike's the man.
how he found the balance, right? And then and doing it for so long, because I'm only 3 years in, but you're doing it so long too, but you've had some hills.
Sure, and I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
It's the ups, the downs, the ebb and flow of things. It's it's not perfect, just like us.
Yeah.
You know.
So give us the story. Who is Chris? Like go deep. How did you get into raw food? Like where and juicing and health?
Well, I can, for as long as I can remember, I was always interested in health and new ways. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care what everybody else is doing. What's the better way? And even at a young age, I remember feeling that way. Did I always do it better? No. It was an experimental thing that has evolved over time, and I'm here 16, 17 years later, and I'm still feeling the same way. Like, what's better, and am I doing it right? 100% correct? No, I'm still not.
Right.
And that's the idea, And it's that old cliche. It's a journey. It's a path. It's a process. As cliche as it sounds, that's what the crux of this whole kind of life,
Yeah. I just where was I gonna go with this? Like, okay, so
How did it start?
well, yeah. How did it start?
9/11.
Yeah.
Right. My brother was a firefighter with Rescue 5 on the island, and he died at the World Trade Center. And at that time in my life, I was it sucked because Nick was he was the father in our family pretty much, for me, my brother, and my sister growing up, and it was we were getting to the point where he wasn't, Nick didn't have to take care of us anymore. We were buddies now. We were becoming friends, and it was a different relationship, And I wanted to experience that because for so long, it was always, him
Being the father
having
figure, yeah.
having to, clean up messes,
Yeah, yeah.
And
What are you doing? You gotta clean this shit up.
yes, yeah, it was that way a lot, and we looked to him for a lot,
Yeah.
and at that point, it was kind of, it was changing,
Yeah.
and it was great. It was a great feeling, to see my brother and say, "Hey, how you been?" Handshake, hug, and
Right.
go on about our lives, and
And that was taken.
and
away
then that
from
was it. It was the weirdest thing. The last day I saw him, August 14th, 2001. It was my uncle's funeral.
him.
And
wow.
because I was coaching at the time, August is, that's when we start,
Yeah.
So I went to the wake and the funeral, and then I had to leave, and when I left, he asked if I wanted to get together for dinner, and I said sure. We had September 7th planned because I had camp and all that, and I was going to be busy for a long stretch, and then that was like it must have been like the first opening that I had, and
Right.
where I would have to jump right back into it. And he called me, and he canceled because he couldn't do it, and we never rescheduled. And then September
my
11th
God.
happened. That was it. So that's my last memory of,
Canceled.
yeah, something
Stuck
like
forever.
a planned get together, with the both of us.
And he's gonna be sitting there at the table when you finally meet again.
Yeah,
He's gonna
we're
be
gonna
like,
have
"Where
we're gonna have that
Here
dinner.
we go.
hmm
Uh,
So that
a vegan dinner.
yeah. Hey, I'm
I'm sure he's watching.
wherever it is. I'm sure it's all.
We've had so many, the coincidences are crazy because my brother passed too, and that's what changed my life.
Mhm.
So, how did it happen? Like, because you were already a football coach. I'm assuming that you were active and you were healthy. Like, what made you
yeah.
like dig into going that next level?
Well,
Was it your ass? Was
know.
like what was going on? Like, 'cause
I
some
was-
people do it because there's an issue. A lot of people do
Right,
it because
right.
there's an issue.
I didn't have any issues personally in terms of health or anything like that at the time, but I don't know. I was feeling a bit stagnant with what I was doing in terms of training, and
Oh, okay.
and then I started to think that, hey, I want to run a marathon.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
So, and I had a couple of buddies that were going to do it with me, and I think it was mid 2002 that my mom mentioned that she saw this guy speak. He did a lecture or a seminar on proper nutrition and eating a certain way, and I don't think she described it to me as a raw vegan diet
Right.
kind of thing, but that's what it was, and who it was Dr. Fred Bishy.
Yes.
And
Fred snuck into your life through Mom. I love it.
yeah, and I met him, or I said to myself, this sounds like the next thing for me, like because it was the way I always was in terms of trying to find the better, the
Yeah.
next better thing. And then I said to myself, I'm like, shit, I wonder if I can run a marathon doing, eating this way.
Right.
And I was really curious. So I immediately set up a meeting with him.
That's great.
And
that's so great.
And like I said, we were speaking in the hallway. He books an hour session with him, and we ended up sitting there for 4 hours
Yeah.
talking about everything. I mean, anything and everything.
Because you were open to it. Like I'm sure he got once.
But even like what happened to my brother, and the
yeah.
Staten Island tie and all that, and it was. I knew.
Oh, because he's in the fire department too. He was on the boats.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was on the boats. He
I
was.
did not know that.
Putting fires out on
Okay.
on the Hudson River.
So then that makes sense. I mean, he was genuinely interested in, everything we were speaking of. And I just, after that meeting, I was like, yeah, this guy's solid, and I didn't know much about the life yet, the lifestyle, but
Which it's so crazy because it's just it's amazing how your mom found them
yeah,
because it's so extreme. Like people don't even I tell people what I do and they can't comprehend it at all. They have no
right,
idea. And you said something the other day too. You made a post about how you don't even feel like you should be eating anymore. Really, I mean,
No-
almost, and not in that exact way, but like the juiced fast when you're juicing and fully hydrated, it opens up these doors that you've never. It's giving me the goosebumps talking about it because. I mean, when it comes to like nature and smells and vision and
why though? Why do you think?
I don't know what it is. I think it's the biophotons, right? Like John
I-
Rose
John
talks
Rose.
about it all the time. Like you're ingesting this living food now, and you're filling yourself up with these nutrients, and you're finally giving your body this rest
Right,
and this healing that happens, and it's
right,
like
but
this combo.
what comes from that is the emptiness, right? A body only heals in emptiness.
Yes.
The environment, when the environment's clean, it takes care of itself. Like Fred always says, the body knows what to do. Got to get out of its way. So, metaphorically speaking, you keep putting something in the body's way in terms of food, especially challenging food and heavy stuff that it takes a ton of work to even utilize a fraction of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take a toll. So when you get it's the whole thing. Like if the more miles you put on a car, the harder you push it, it's not going to last as long.
Right.
And it's probably not going to perform as well as you'd like it to.
Right.
So I think it works almost the same, I believe, with the body. And one thing I like to say in terms of food is food doesn't everything is, when people think about nutrition, everything is what I put in. Fred's thing is what you leave out is more important than what you put in, and it makes sense because and from that I would add, food doesn't cure you. No food cures you.
Right.
But the food you do put in determines if you stay cured.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I'll be honest with you, I put that in my phone on the way here.
Oh, that's so good.
So I wouldn't forget it. So I wanted to get that one in there.
But that is so good because it really is. And the most amazing thing about it is, right, the more you clean up, the more you absorb. The more, just cleaning up the pipes and you're able to absorb better. So, like, even when I noticed when I was, like, deep in it, man, I didn't have to do a drink or I didn't even have to drink juice anymore.
Right.
I felt like I
Right.
was just, like, in this weird place where my body just started
What kind did you
eating.
struggle? Did you struggle at all in terms of, like, the symptoms, like detox symptoms? and all
Oh,
that?
yeah, there was a whole bunch of stuff going on. Even with the downstairs area,
Mhm.
I don't. Especially the butt and the penis, the whole thing. Like everything was like everything. And I
Well, it's
knew
all-
deep inside, I knew everything that we're talking about today was like common sense. Like everything that Fred says and Mike Perrine and John Rose and. It all made sense to me that if you eat living food, you're gonna feel alive and all this stuff and cleaning up and the
Right.
water fasting and the juice fasting and
But I think it has more to do with the liberation that food gives your body.
yeah,
More than the nutrients, the B vitamins give me this, the protein gives me this, blah blah.
Right.
It's that reductionist kind of approach
Yeah.
where, if protein is good for building muscle and zinc is good for this and vitamin A is good for this, it's like you're trying to put together a puzzle that won't ever get finished.
No.
Because we're always changing, and it's the process always changes. Most people think health is linear, right? Like, I'm going to get on this healthy journey, and then I'm just going to get healthier and healthier and healthier and healthier until I die.
Yeah,
If you get to this level of health, are you going to die? No, it's can you deal with, I feel great,
balance.
I feel like shit. oh, I feel great. I feel like shit. I think that's just, it's just like those are warnings to say, take a look at what you're doing because you might not be doing everything the
Yeah.
right way.
Yeah.
Maybe there are changes that you can make, and you'll grow and learn and evolve from
Yes.
that.
And that process is great. I've had so much fun
But that's
with
that's
my
our whole
butt
lives.
and the penis and all that stuff like that. Like, I was
Bob,
like,
you tell everybody you're a comedian, right?
yeah, really in heart. I was always naturally funny. Like, I never actually went on stage. I did some bits and stuff and practical jokers and all that stuff. But
Got to check out his old videos.
yeah, I have some really disturbing videos out there. I mean, especially being heavy, knowing that I knew this though. I had this weapon for a while. Like when in 2010 is when I really discovered it. Right before I bought
Right.
Full Cup.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's so funny because when I got Full Cup, I was gonna let this body shine. I only knew, knowing that I had that power, that I was gonna completely transform myself. And I was like, well, I'm gonna have fun with this body, and I did. I was like naked all the time. I was on the stage. I had the boobies bouncing, and I was naked on the practical
Yeah,
jokers.
I remember.
And it
I
was
saw
just
the
naked
videos.
everywhere. I was just having fun. Had the bellies out, had the titties out, because it was just crazy. But back to juicing. Like for me, because I was so, I grew up on bread. I think my mom, like I give when the kids are going crazy, here, take the iPad, take a chill pill. Here's the iPad.
She was like, "Here, take some bread."
Yeah, take the loaf of bread. I swear, I'd be in the corner eating loaf of bread. So and I think that just turned into cement in me, and never really. And besides, I was like sick one year, and I think I had like 50,000 penicillin pills, and who the hell knows
Well,
what I
listen,
was
that's
eating.
the theory is that everything we've ingested or taken in over decades,
Yeah,
it's a
40 years of sludge.
yeah, and Gil has a great analogy. It's like the Titanic, right? The Titanic hits the iceberg, right? It's sitting there on top of the water. It doesn't go down yet, right? It starts to fill with water, right? So imagine each of those bulkheads, those compartments that filled with water, and then it made it come up and then go down. Each one of those compartments is 10 years, right?
Oh,
So you
yes.
got 10 years, 20 years later, 30 years later, it's not looking so good, right?
No.
And then 40 years, all of a sudden we have disease, we have cancer, and it's not all of a sudden. It's
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's,
sludge building up,
right.
compartments being filled with water. That's exactly what's going down.
And then
your ship will fall. It will sink.
And you didn't you don't realize it until
Yeah, until
sometimes
you get
it's too late,
diagnosed.
right.
Yeah, and that's what I was really afraid of. Oh my God! And that's the whole thing with me was, the cancer was right in front of my face. I watched my brother die. I watched his body try to heal, because now the body doesn't want to eat. It's
Right.
on healing mode, and it tried to heal him as long as possible. He was on ice cubes for I think the last 6 months.
What
Chewing ice cubes. Now, it wasn't
what
even.
stage was he at when he found out?
Oh, it was 4. I think he was,
Yeah,
and
that's
then
a
they
tough thing.
supposedly took it all out of him, and then he was like, he got the clean bill, and it was like a month later, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
It's and
Stage 4. I mean, if you let it get that far,
yeah,
no lifestyle change is really going to help you. You probably need, the
Yeah.
the magic of allopathic medicine, which
which
buys us time,
Yeah,
but
it doesn't.
it won't
yeah.
heal us. But at that point,
And he had the warning signs too. Your body gives you warning signs. Just listen to them, and that's what was going on with me. My feet were numb.
Do
I
you
couldn't
think-
stand up anymore.
now, do you think because you were experiencing the same things, do you think your brother died so you would wake up?
Oh my God! Yeah, he's Jesus to me. Yeah, and I still, it's
a
amazing.
It's definitely a wake up call.
And it was him looking at me sleeping, and I had the worst sleep apnea because as soon as I hit over the 300 mark, I couldn't sleep anymore. And he watched me sleeping, and he was like, "You're gonna die before me." And this is a kid.
He
who's
said that to
riddled.
you?
Yeah, and that was it. I stopped eating it. I literally stopped eating that day. And
It's amazing how there's a switch.
And I was like, okay, I'm done. Thank you for that. And then and then he passed, and I just kept going, and I kept inspiring for him.
Dude, I remember your first few videos.
You were heavy and like I'm doing it.
You made it. You made a show of it.
Yeah.
And it definitely got people's attention.
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah.
But it's definitely courageous at that point to put yourself out there like that on video, and
Yeah.
because it's out there now. That's it.
Oh, I know, and I wanted to show everyone the journey. I knew, and I was so confident in what I was gonna do, and it turned into that. It turned into a show. I can't wait to make like a whole documentary about it.
Yeah, and you should. I mean,
I want to be
those
like
videos. If you
super
guys,
sexy.
if you guys go back to those videos and then look at Rob now, it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, Raw Food City on YouTube. Check
No
it out.
doubt.
Go to the beginning. And I already lost 50 pounds in those beginning videos.
Before,
okay. Being like a fat vegan, I was doing because.
But
I was transitioning.
But that's the progression. That's the way it should be.
Yeah.
It
worked perfect.
If you let's go from a real cheeseburger to a Beyond Burger.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the natural transition, or the most helpful, because
you're coming from such madness.
It gives you the same thing, so mentally it keeps you on track.
Yeah.
Right. And my mistake was with those burgers. I didn't treat it as transition. I was eating it all. I was eating it every week, and I put on about 20, 25 pounds at that point.
Poop. How are you? What are you doing? Are you doing colonics?
I've done, yeah.
Are you doing like once a week?
No.
Because I know Mike was saying with juice fasting, you probably want to try to get in there once a week, and I never did it. I wanted to see.
I went in once.
I wanted to see it naturally happen, and
you said it
day
did.
90.
I didn't experience that.
You no?
No, not what you have.
Are you going every day?
Yes.
You are.
That's
amazing.
No, not every day.
Is it no? Because it was like if I missed a day, it was a 2-day next day.
Right.
So I was pretty consistent on the juice fast throughout the whole 100 days. And I want everybody to know, don't be afraid of juice feasting. Don't be just get to it, and it doesn't even matter with the juice, really, to be honest. I mean,
no,
give the body a rest.
The magic, the magic of this whole thing happens not because of the juice. It's because of what you're leaving out. It's the fact that you're not having the other stuff.
You're not having all the freaking crap.
And I'll credit, I'll say this is Gil all the way, right?
Right.
He talked. No, that's Arnold Barrett. Yeah, that's where
this is where it all.
That's where all the info.
This is the deep Bible right here that was given to me. Finally, I get to read this thing. Arnold Barrett.
But Gil talks about what were we saying?
The poop, sludge, the mucus plaque, though.
No. I completely forgot where we were.
I don't know. Where were we? Wait, hold on. Because I'm the worst
too. He talks about the the fact that you're not eating.
Oh, right.
And the juicing combined, that awakens the sludge, the toxic poison that's in your body that was stored. Yes. And this is where the idea that decades worth of this stuff, it finally becomes awakened from not giving the body work to do. Right?
Do you have normal poo?
It's not tremendous, but
because it was so crazy to me. Because
it's not normal.
I was going like solid. I'm like friggin' not. It was solid, and that's the only reason why I didn't go to Mike, Vitality, because I'm like I'm having these movements. I'm like I'm going.
Right.
And I'm watching this process happen. And then there was certain days, there was stuff that came out of me that 100% was foreign. Was what they call, I think, mucoid plaque.
Right.
Because it was really stinky. It wasn't juice.
Right.
Here I am juicing 90 days drinking orange juice. That ain't orange. What came out of me, that's not orange. So I don't think people realize how much shit we are holding on to,
Right.
especially if you're like 50, 60 years old now, and you've been on a standard American diet. You've got like
And
40
it's not
pounds
it's not just
of
that.
impacted.
Yeah. They say that there's prescription medication
Locked in there.
locked in, negative emotions
Yeah.
from past trauma. And listen, this is all debatable. I don't know, but I follow certain people and I believe what they say. And
I'm telling
I've
you.
learned everything I have from them. Over the past 15 years, 16 years, and it's all these things. It definitely affects how we function. In the present moment. So, and you could see, from your own experience, the fog that was lifted,
Oh,
just
immediate.
from a
So fast.
standard American diet. I'm sure there was depression in there. I'm not
Oh yeah,
You know.
100%. I was depressed every time I ate.
right. So that cycle, you broke that cycle, and
Yeah.
then before you know it, you're functioning on a different level.
I had this. I had it subconscious, locked in. Every single time I ate something, I knew it was wrong. Coming off because
But
it
that's
was fire.
that's the addiction.
It
That's
wa-
that's
it was mostly cooked, processed food, and it was and even if I had small amounts, like I was always trying to watch. I didn't want to be that big. I was always had this diet mentality, and I'm like, fuck, what do I do? And I knew there was certain things that worked for me. Like I did the Atkins thing for my wedding. That was insane, but
yeah,
it
that
didn't make
works.
sense.
Well, that works because it stimulates, not because
it stimulates.
not because it's healthy for us.
It's not healthy.
But
and
what's the
it's-
Atkins? The Atkins is
It's all
just
meat.
it's another word for paleo. It's another
Yeah.
word for keto. And they're just those are crisis situations.
Yeah,
It
I was
puts the
fooling
body
my body.
it puts the body in a crisis situation, and it's gonna react accordingly.
Yeah.
Which means it's gonna stimulate everything. That's why when we stay away from carbs, which it's another buzz term I hate. We stay away from that. The protein,
It accumulates.
it causes weight loss. It does. You'll lose weight, but it doesn't mean it's
Doesn't mean it's a healthy way.
And it's not gonna it doesn't mean it's gonna contribute to future health. In the long term.
And we, by nature, are carnivores. Like we are fruitarians.
Yeah. Well,
Like,
people don't understand that fruits and vegetables are carbohydrates.
Yeah.
When people say, "Oh, I'm staying away from carbs," they just think it's pasta, potatoes, breads,
Yeah.
rice, and that kind of thing.
Yeah. But and that's what was so hard. Like, because.
Is rice a carbohydrate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, it's so hard.
It's difficult because those think
Those
about
are the natural things that we want.
but think about culture wise, right? Burger and fries, right?
Yeah.
Ham and cheese, pasta, chicken and rice.
Yeah.
Meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
All the things that we grow up on as kids, in whatever culture we grow up in. It's ingrained, and then we're kind of forced to figure this out as we age and go through this life.
I have notes here. So here's another thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go into
Did I-
microbiome, like your cravings. Like, do you feel like now your cravings are different?
I'll
Like,
tell you one
cannot
thing.
wait to have a salad, like in.
No, not really. I feel like I can do what I'm doing forever,
Yes, that's how I.
but I don't.
I didn't want to get off.
I'm looking forward to eating. To be honest with you, I have 8 more days left, but
92.
the cravings. It's funny because about I don't know a month ago, I suddenly had a craving for raviolis,
Oh.
and I haven't
Old school.
I haven't eaten raviolis in I don't know how long.
Interesting.
So I don't know,
well, they have some great
but I think that's the memory of
fat vegan kind of
Yeah, I know.
raviolis that are amazing.
I'm I'm gonna tread lightly when I come back.
Oh yeah, I was going to talk to you about that too. I also wrote that down. The transition into food, and I've made so many mistakes. And Mike actually watched me, and was like, "Oh no!" Like I called him up, and I was like, I went in there for emergency colonics, like because how bad.
Didn't you wait? You didn't you film it too?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I have on
You're
Raw
cra-
Food City
you're
YouTube. You'll
crazy.
see my first colonic.
You're crazy.
It's yeah. Go back into time, and
I don't know if they want to see
those
that.
were good times. That was amazing because Mike said, and Mike's been doing it for a long time. He said, yeah, that was one of my best sessions ever. Because I laid there for 40 minutes. I was a little nervous, there's something in my colon.
Right.
It was,
Colonics are not what you think, everybody.
Yeah. It's
not-
really a simple procedure. It's
ve-
so simple.
It's very clinical. It's not,
and it's so it's kind of amazing.
but it's tremendous.
There's no pain.
And there's the argument that we're not natural. That's not natural.
That's not natural,
but we're not natural.
yes,
We are not natural beings anymore.
not the
right.
no,
The
not
food
the
the
abuse
food
that
we
we've
eat,
done.
the food we eat, the environment we're in, the water we use, the skincare products, hair products, medication, all this stuff. We're as far from natural as you can get.
Yeah. So and because we've been so unnatural, like these great inventions, like the juicer, like the blender, like colonics.
Those are the hackers.
Those are the hacks. Like to speed up the process of where we should be.
right.
Climbing trees and eating coconuts and berries.
It's basically a return. Return to what we should have been or what we were at one point.
Yeah, but I really just want to keep strong to wake up even my close ones, because my close ones are still not there yet. And even though I'm thriving and I'm alive and I see I'm like a different person, it just the cooked food and the drug that is processed foods just really.
It's criminal. I mean, it's criminal that they're allowed to make it and sell it.
It really is. Like the deeper I get into this,
Think about it, right? What if somebody talks about a certain flavor combination? You can bet, like a week later, it's showing up as a flavor of Doritos.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's unbelievable.
It's instant. And
so how is that not a creation of something addictive to make you buy what you asked for?
Yeah. Man,
It's
and
pretty crazy.
I just want to help everyone, but
take your time. The one thing I've learned over this whole process that it never ends.
no.
You're always going to experience something that you don't want, or that won't serve you at that moment in this path, in this journey.
Yeah.
So you just got to roll with it, because like I was saying outside, any kind of stress we put on ourselves about, what we're eating, and it's counterproductive, to the healthy lifestyle that we are living already, So you roll with it. Let's say you were at a get together or something, you ate a French fry. Don't flip out.
Oh right, yeah.
It's a fucking potato.
Yeah.
I mean,
I've been real good with
it's not
that,
the best, but
yeah. If
You're
someone pushes
fine.
something on me, I gotta have a little bite. I want to feel like a little
See,
normal, but
and what makes it fine though is the knowledge that
And knowing-
that we've accumulated. You can go back and
Instantly.
and instantly revamp.
And I love being there because I get, again, it's a very depressed thing for me. Like, I really go through it, and I don't want to go through it. So a lot of times, 99% of the time, I'm like, oh, no, like, I'll go out to eat with everybody, and I'll be totally fine. That's the level I'm at. Like, watching everybody eat and just
That's the
conversating
idea.
and having fun and picking at lettuce. You're like, I am fine.
When I first started this 100 days, the third or fourth day, I was at a family dinner
And
on the island at
sucking
one of
down
those
juice.
family-style Italian places.
Oh, that was me too, right in the middle of it.
And I'm sitting there, and I actually made a joke. I took a picture of my empty plate, and I said, "This is great." And, I tagged
Just
where I
kidding.
was or whatever. No, I didn't even say just kidding. So this is and it was, I was eyeing the salad a little bit,
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, that's
and
what it was
and
too.
the
Like,
and the bread.
they came out with the tomatoes. It was I literally made a video on it. Like the same, we experienced the same thing on the Juice Fest. Like I was in the middle of the most awesome Italian restaurant. It's the one on Richmond Road, the Amboy Road,
Right.
I think, and it's from Brooklyn or whatever. And it's like a big family style. Plates are coming out, and these
Wait,
tomatoes
I think
came out.
I think that's where I was.
That's probably the
I
same
think
place.
that's where I was.
These tomatoes, these mozzarella tomatoes, and my wife would just eat the mozzarella and leave the tomato.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like looking at the tomato, like,
What now?
And I was
When
juicing.
you look at the mozzarella, what do you think?
oh no, nothing.
Nothing.
And
Nothing.
no, I am done. It's so crazy too because my upbringing was a pizzeria. Like I
Come on.
worked in a pizzeria my whole childhood.
Growing up in Staten Island,
And-
fresh mozzarella is like a birthright.
Yeah, no,
You know?
I know. I don't know. The craving's gone. Only knowing what it did to me and what
Yeah.
I know how to make. I know how to make the dopest cheese out of nuts now. So
Yeah,
if I have a
yeah.
craving, I make it.
There's a way to
There's a way to do it in a healthy way.
I'm actually like I'm
Like this, like Nikki's Organics
yeah,
right
there
here.
you go.
I can't wait to get into this. This is the maple berry. I don't know if you guys know about Nikki Organics, but it's a company.
It's
that
named
you-
after my brother. And,
Yeah, and it's oh man.
And like yeah,
I can't wait to try this.
it's something that I've been working on for over 10 years. And it was just recently that I decided to kind of try to make it into a business, and so it's just another way to keep that memory alive.
Yeah.
And because it was tough, it was a tough time.
Oh,
You know,
I
and,
can't
and
imagine.
we got off that, and I was
Yeah.
speaking about how I started this. So my brother passed away, and I wanted to run the marathon. I got in touch with Fred, and then the training started. And I was always so like it was a fun process for me. The whole idea of preparing for something and,
Yeah.
then doing it. I was actually like 235 pounds when I started.
Right.
Training. And I remember my first run was like a mile and a half, I think I had to do. I printed out like a training program all from the internet and just followed it, mile and a half, and I was dying. And I've always been athletic and into exercise and training.
Oh, I can't do a mile
So-
and a half.
But
Can't do it now.
listen. So now I'm like thinking to myself, how the fuck am I going to do this? This is crazy because, like, I don't know, 2 months later, I was supposed to be doing 15-mile runs. And I'm like, how is this going to happen? But just like this process,
Yep.
I just stuck with it. I got through it was difficult for sure. It crushed me a few times, but I just kept going. And sure enough, 2 months later, I was running 15 miles on a Saturday.
Doing raw food and
I
like
was
high fruits
I was
and-
raw vegan at that time.
Wow.
Like right away,
It's so cool, and it's so long ago.
Yeah.
I'm just so jealous.
And-
All you guys finding these people so long ago, but
Yeah.
it's never too late, people.
Never, ever.
You could
Never.
be 68 years old listening to this, and your whole life will change as soon as you start eating
See, and,
living
and,
food.
and I don't consider myself an expert. I just do what I learned.
Yeah.
I mean, I can.
but it made sense to you.
It did. It just did. I think it appealed to my nature because I'm a very extreme oriented
Yes, me
person.
too. All or nothing.
So right, and so I did the marathon, or leading up to it, I was feeling really good about it, and I went from 235 to like 191
Right.
by the time the marathon came around. So
Wow.
from April to November.
Sick.
Right.
Did you do the whole 15 miles? Did you do it?
What, the whole marathon? Yeah,
Amazing.
absolutely.
Ah, wait, 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 wait.
And it wasn't I didn't have a great time.
Oh, kiss.
No, and I was just
Yeah.
bringing that up because there were other things that I was so into the like the lifestyle and the training, like the
Yeah.
running, right? but I stopped strength training. And I should have been doing a little, little strength
right.
training to because
Keep
it's a
it.
lot of pounding. It's a lot of impact on your body.
Oh yeah.
Just the running alone. And so, and then I've continued that. I've done so many races over the years, marathons. I trained for an Ironman in 2008
Whoa.
that I didn't get to do. I didn't do it because I had 2 marathons set up on my training program. Like I looked at the other one, it said I had to do 15. This one said do a marathon, right? Because it was, it's such an intense thing. So I actually set up my own marathon where I lived. I got, I mapped out, I got in my car,
Oh,
mapped
cool.
out 26.2 mile loop, right, from my house and back. And I remember I froze a 6-pack of Gatorades the night before. And I had some of those gels, the energy gels
And
or
you
whatever.
put them along the bed?
I woke up that morning at like 5, got in the car. Every 3 miles, I'd plant a bottle somewhere,
That's
and
great.
then I had 3 gels, I think. So every other bottle, I had a gel with it. So I was totally like prepared. Every 3 miles, I'd have an ice
Anybody
cold
rob one?
drink. No,
They were all there?
I hid them, yeah, and they were ice. They were blocks of ice when I planted them. So by the time I got to them,
They were all
they were
cold and
perfectly
ready.
ice cold, and see, that's like that. Nobody knew I was doing it. I just did it. I woke up one morning, did this marathon by myself. And then, then I did Boston in April of 2008. And that's right before the race. I was stretching and I felt something pop in my knee.
Oh no.
And I was like, that felt kind of odd. Didn't really hurt much. And I started running, felt fine. The first half, I don't know if anybody knows, but the first half of the Boston Marathon is gradually downhill, right? Gradually downhill. And you don't realize the toll that takes on your hips because every step is a deceleration kind of thing.
Yes.
So once I got off the downhill and it flattened out a little bit and then started, heading up, that's when my knee started hurting a little bit. And I made it through. It was actually my fastest marathon ever. But I was done. I went for an MRI and I tore some cartilage in my knee.
Oh man.
And I had a half Ironman coming up, and then the Ironman was like a month after that. So, and I had a friend that I was doing the half with, and I said, "Listen, I don't think I can do the race." And he was like, "Nah, dude, you got to do it. I'm not doing this thing myself. I've been training. You got to do it." So I said, "All right, I'll use this race to see how I feel. If I don't feel good, I'm going to drop out of the Ironman." And I hadn't been able to train leading up to it.
Yeah.
The Boston was mid-April or late April, and this race was June 20th. So I hardly trained for it. And the swim and the bike were really good. Once I got on the run, I was done. My knee was killing me, and it was hot. It was brutal.
It was worth the shot.
So,
I guess.
well, I finished.
You went for it.
I finished, and then I was just like, if this was this painful, I'm not going to do a full Ironman. I'm not going to put myself through that. So
Too much of
good
everything.
or bad.
The stress on the body. It was just too
Well,
much.
I had an injury.
And your injury.
So
yeah.
I think I made a good choice at that point. But
And that's what I was thinking too. Like sometimes you get too clean, and you need to buff, especially we're in New York City. Like I feel like if we had if we were in Costa Rica, and Hawaii, and all these environments
that's
really
Fred's
clean.
thing. He says you struggle a little bit as a very clean.
Yeah. And I noticed that
raw vegan.
and my body craves that buffer, like a sweet potato, a coffee.
And there's
like
nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with that.
It wants the acid. It wants to keep this layer on, and I'm like, no.
The bottom line is no matter what you do, you're still walking a line, because you can always go too far, either way.
Yeah.
So it's you got to find a balance.
Find a balance.
Something that quote unquote works for you, and
But juice fasting is the
It's-
way to open up those doors.
it heals. It definitely heals.
heals, and it opens up your eyes to a whole nother world. It really pushes you right in because it
It
becomes
does.
a drug.
And one great thing, and I say this because I've done it before, is it's kind of isolating. All right, so, and I don't see it as a negative. It kind of keeps you to yourself. It forces you to take a really deep look at yourself and what you're doing, because you're peeling layers away. You're not eating. There's, you need to rest, so you're not really too active, and so you're not doing too much of anything other than the juice fast.
Yeah.
So it's kind of profound in that way. I think it's a good thing. I think if people struggle being alone, I say you have to be alone then.
Yes.
You got to get to the point where you could be alone.
Yeah.
Where you're feeling isolated. And I've gotten to the point where I can, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because that's where you could do some really deep work, and I know the reason most people don't like to be alone is because they don't want to look at themselves. They don't want to take that deep look. It's tough. It's tough to see shortcomings and things that we need to work on.
Yeah.
Because then, you hold yourself to a standard, and if you don't do it, then it's on you. You fucked up. And I think that's big. That's big for the growth part of this whole thing.
A dinner.
Yeah.
Now, like you're juicing.
Mm-hmm.
You've been juicing for 92 days. This is awesome. I wish I was back in the 92 zone because I would not stop because I knew I was excreting some cement that was coming out of my body was cement. It was mucoid plaque cement. I couldn't flush it. I couldn't pee on it. I left it in the bowl for the whole weekend. It was
I
sitting
love
in
the way you
water.
talk about this.
It wouldn't go down the bowl. I knew it was alive and breathing. It was plaque and whatever it was, and I knew I was just getting into it. And here I am, day 90, and then I stop on 100, and I was going a lot, and I felt like there was so much more, and I wish I did 200. So, do you feel like you need to go longer? Because I was gonna say don't.
No, I'm not going to.
Okay.
No.
So you're all right with it.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good where I'm at and what I've
What you've done, and you could always do it again.
Well, that's the thing. Like we said, if you have the knowledge and the understanding, of this whole thing that we threw ourselves into, you can take it as far as you want. And it doesn't have to be as far as it can go. It doesn't have to be that way. And I understand,
Right now pooping out guts.
Right.
I'm dead.
And I understand that when you knew, when you get into this, you want to, it's a very gung-ho feeling because that's where I was. I've done it.
Yeah.
I've experienced that. But it doesn't have to be that way all the time,
Yeah.
And you just you just got to deal with the ups and downs of this whole thing,
Yeah.
Some of them are drastic, some of them aren't,
Do you have a juice dinner?
A juice dinner.
Because I always had the sickest tomato V8. Like it just completely made my juice fast so much easier. And I want to give everyone that tip.
Well, here's
It's like a sauce.
Here's what I actually started doing. I love blended salad, the gazpacho kind of thing. I have a great recipe that I've been eating for years, and I decided to take all those ingredients and make a juice out of them all. And
You must love it.
It doesn't sound like it would be, very good, but it was excellent. I loved it.
Do you mess with peppers?
I put tomatoes, I put pepper, I put
Cucumber,
onion.
celery, like the regular.
I put a little bit of onion in there,
Yeah.
believe it or not. Garlic, romaine, cucumbers, spinach, and what I would put in a blended salad would be an avocado. And
There it is. So like you basically got the V8.
And it was actually delicious, really good.
Yes. And that really, once I found that, I knew I was going to be able to do 100. Once I had that V, because you get bored of the other stuff, like
Sure, I mean
orange juice, green juices. It's
well,
like,
I know I ordered a majority of the juices that
which is
I've
awesome.
that I've had. You know,
And
mainly
it's working. Look, he's still alive, breathing, more life than ever. Blue eyes shining, like that. You can drink
No,
bottled juice.
you
Like
can. Well, and these
you don't have to juice it yourself.
But this is from a
From a juice
a
company.
place
Yeah.
that make they that's what they do. So yeah, the convenience. 100 days.
Yeah, it
If-
gets a little
If
crazy.
I'm spending
Your hands are
a
wet all
certain
the time.
amount for the beet colors.
Yeah, yeah, oh,
you know.
yeah.
So the money you would spend on stuff you'd buy to eat if you weren't fasting, or to buy produce and stuff if you were making juices on your own.
Everyone.
I spent
says
on
that. Yep.
I spent on these, and then every once in a while I'll go out and I'd get a watermelon, some limes, and I'd juice watermelon and lime.
There you
I'd
go.
make
The simple stuff.
I'd make one,
And
if I needed a little change.
you could blend watermelon and strain.
Right,
like
you
it's
can
that
blend and
easy.
strain stuff.
Yeah.
If you don't have a juicer.
Yeah, those are.
There's a
great
way to
hacks.
do it
There's
if
a
you
way
want to do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's the bottom line.
Even Trader Joe's has this, and this. I lived basically 100 days on it because I had it every day for lunch, and I was mixing green powders into it. I was. So I would have the green juices, and I felt great when I was drinking like straight celery and stuff like that.
Right.
It was amazing. Oh, and that's another bonus for everybody too, like celery and beets. Those are powerhouse tools. Like if you get a little clogged up, juice a beet. Watch what happens to
fennel
your
too.
ass. Yeah, fennel.
Mike,
Yes.
Mike is a big proponent of fennel. Mike Perrine, look him up.
Yes.
Everyday Detox.
Instagram, Everyday Detox. One of my faves right now.
Oh no,
His stories are killing it.
he's my go-to for sure.
Yeah.
And he's just a great
The
great
Q&A.
person, just a great person.
Great person. Great.
His stories are pretty entertaining.
Yeah. No, the stories are great.
He's got a new life now. He's married. He's got
yeah.
dogs and chickens, and
West Coast farm.
he's on the farm
whole
in
thing.
Oregon.
You're very jealous. What he's doing
yeah,
right now, but I'll be there.
He's Mike is on point with everything, and I think we've mentioned this to each other before. There's only two people that I know that do this thing 100% for sure, and Mike Perrine is one of them, and Fred Bishy's the other.
Oh man,
I never met Gil.
Speaking of Fred,
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure he does because he has the greatest understanding of this.
Yeah, so much
I
knowledge. He
believe.
knows. They the magic. Once you get into this, you just figure it out yourself. It's pretty amazing.
But that's the idea.
How much knowledge you.
That's the idea, though. You want to.
No.
You're right, but you want to figure
you.
it out. You want to figure it out by doing it. You want to make mistakes. You want to, figure out what you did wrong, and then redo it and try to do it the right way.
And it's a fun process. I promise you that, man. It's a lot of fun doing it because you see the change, you feel the change. It's instantaneously. Like day 4, I was crying. Day 4 on a juice fast, I was on my knees crying, looking at the sun, going, "Thank you, God, I'm alive." And I got emotional and I cried, and I was like, "Oh my God, I've been lied to my whole life." And here I am.
A lot comes
in
a
my
lot comes
40s.
up. A lot comes up.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh my God!
And it connects you.
It connects you.
It's a great connector of people.
So I push on everybody.
Like-minded people.
But Fred goes deep, man. Fred, with the dry fasting and water fasting, and
See,
I wanted to ask you
those
that.
were
Like,
experiments, though.
would you want to dive into a little bit of water? Do you like Lauren Lockman? Do you? Because I can't stop watching his videos either. And I want to do water.
I would do it. I would do it though if I did it supervised. I wouldn't do water on my own.
Yeah.
And
what about 3 days? Because I heard 3 days it sparks a little
I've done a
thing
week.
on you.
I've done a week.
Ooh, okay.
On
That's
my
real.
own, but
Did you like it?
Norman Walker. Norman Walker.
Okay,
the
yeah.
Walker juice, the
Yes.
Norwalk juicer. He talks about in one of his books. I'm not sure which one it is. He talks about how long-term water fasting, if not done correctly,
Correct.
you can damage your nervous system. So
okay.
it's not worth it. You know what I mean? If the downside is possibly that, then there's no point. And
And
most
juice fasting is a super hack. to that.
Well, the juice sustains you. The what you leave out does the work. The juice keeps you alive.
You know what I wanted to do, and you might find this interesting too, because I'm assuming you're mixing up juices like, and I've done this like mono carrot, but you know what I really want to do? I want to do like mono celery, or mono cucumber.
Yeah,
like,
You could do it.
Or like a green juice, because the green juice has really no calories, almost like a water fast, and see how long like the lemon ginger blast could, like how long can
Do it. Try it.
Yeah, because maybe
Talk to
do
Mike.
that before I start with
Talk to
messing with
Mike.
the water.
That's my answer.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
If
Mike is gonna, Mike tells me don't do it. Go get a colonic.
If I think anything like that, I just shoot it out to Mike.
Yeah.
And he usually, he comes up with the right answer.
Yeah.
And listen, a lot of what we do, a lot of what I've done, what you're doing, it comes from an ego space. Let's be honest.
Yes.
Right.
Definitely.
Oh, hey, I did. I went 100. I went 100 days. I'm look how great I am.
Yeah.
And I got called out. I gotta be honest.
Nice. Cool. No one really called me out.
From a girl I know, a woman I know.
Maybe because I was a fat F.
No.
And people like to. It's different. It's like more of a healing
Not really.
process. All right, go ahead.
Not really, because no matter what reason we're doing it for, there's some ego in there.
Yes.
There is.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have to do 100 days. I didn't have to post about it. I didn't have to get on it, come on a show and talk about it. And that's okay. It's just part of it. Maybe next time I do it, I won't do those things.
Right.
Consciously aware of the effect that, or the way, the look of it as being, it's ego and
yeah.
And
What'd she say?
But that's the process. She said, I forgot. I think I was talking to her about it as, this is, or she might have done something, and I said that was from ego, and then she threw it right back on me.
Yeah, all right.
And saying, so why do you post about what you're doing and all that?
And then
is that ego? And I said, yeah. I said, you know what? It probably is. There's a little bit in that, but at the same time, if somebody sees it,
and it
because I don't just write day 91 of 100 days. This is
Look
great.
At me. Right.
Look at me.
Yeah.
I do try to post some knowledge or some things that I've learned, and maybe it will help somebody. You know, and I always, most of the time I put send them, message me.
You know what it is
I'll
too?
help you.
And this is what happened to me instantly. It was the same thing like the Juice Fast, instantaneous stuff. I felt so good. It's impossible to keep this stuff a secret.
Right.
You really, it's impossible.
Yeah.
You have to tell people.
It is. It's empowering.
Yeah.
It's that kind of thing, and I don't know. It's just like anything else. When you find something that you feel is great, you want to share it. You want to tell people about it. And sometimes the act of sharing it doesn't always come across in a positive way.
Right. I hope we're positive today. It is 6:00. Man, was that the fastest hour ever? Wow. This was it. We should leave on that note. It worked out perfect. And we're inspiring.
We can go on. We can go on with this.
This is definitely.
For sure.
Whoa. This is definitely part one, right?
Yeah, for sure.
This is part one because.
And each time I'll bring a new flavor.
Oh, and don't forget, I can't wait to eat this. Nikki's Organic. The maple berry. We're gonna try to push this. Maybe.
I'm not officially up and running right now.
What about a Raw Food City sponsor?
Sure.
Brought to you by Nikki's Organics. Sure. Like Raw Food City will be Nikki's Organic.
Sure.
How cool would that be?
That would be fine. Thank you.
Oh my God, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I really never had a sponsor, or you don't have to pay me. We'll just do it. We'll put it out there.
Okay.
And then
I appreciate
we'll making the real money. Then we'll do something. Throw me a dime. Wow, it was so much fun talking to you, Chris.
Yeah, it was great.
And
Thank
actually
you.
meeting you in the flesh, he played a tribute
I'm in an Incubus tribute band.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
don't forget about that. This tribute band, and he's got a show coming up.
No.
You don't have a show?
No.
Would you post?
Practice.
Practice.
Because we're getting back together. We're coming back together.
Okay, so there's some life breathing into this band. So that's really cool. Getting back together.
Well, we met online because he used to own a venue.
Yeah,
and we set up a show where I got a few bands together and we all played at the Full Cup.
Yeah.
And that's the only.
I love the.
That's
idea
the only interaction we've had.
I just wish my place
before this
had regulars. That's the problem with my place. It was like I depended on all the bands to bring in everybody.
Yeah, it was tough. It was fun though.
It was such a fun experience for me. It was life changing. Getting to know business, because in business actually helped me who I am today, because it made sense that all the food that we're eating is all business.
Right.
Like they're always cutting corners. That cow is not eating grass.
No.
It's all BS, man.
No way.
So it's all
that.
about,
we'll get into that.
Yeah,
stuff
that's
later
part
on.
two. That's part two with Chris. And
but here's the best message we can leave, or I can leave, is that this thing is a process, just like anything else. Get on
it.
Do your thing.
Start juicing.
Do your thing. Make mistakes. Fix the mistakes. Keep making mistakes.
Yes.
And do it for the rest of your life, because it will spill over into other areas of your life.
Yeah.
And it just gives you that focus on evolving and changing.
It'll change your family tree too, like the healthier
no
you
doubt.
get. Like
don't believe the whole genetic thing.
No, the whole genetic thing is all BS. Like you could cure whatever issue you got.
We can do it.
That's for sure. with raw food. And so YouTube, Instagram, anybody out there, Raw Food City. And then you want to plug anything besides Nikki's Organics coming back to the house?
That's all.
And Nikki's Organics, and maybe we'll see that.
Search Nikki's Organics on Facebook.
Yeah,
Instagram.
give it a like. That thing is gonna.
We're gonna be up and running officially pretty soon.
Wait,
you don't even have to tear it.
I'm not supposed to eat anything, but I have to try one on camera before we leave.
He's watching right now.
I'm in. It's so good. Oh my God. Peace, love.
See you guys. You're crazy.